All right, so let me ask you before we start, because today's class will be practical, like practical. We'll be doing these things together. I know we have a short time, but then I'm sure you're going to learn a lot into this class. But then before I begin, I want to ask, what do you think about, you started learning CSS last week, right? So what do you think about HTML and CSS so far? I'm sure you must have been doing personal learning, personal, research and all of that. What do you think? Like, has it been?
It's been fun. Like last week when I asked Samuel if there was like a roadmap that you follow in school, we call it scheme of work, and he was able to put certain things in perspective, and I think I've been following that. And regarding the last lesson, yeah, we learned a lot. I learned certain things, and I think I have one or two questions I might ask, but that will be personal between me and Samuel later on.
All right, that's good. I'm actually glad you have someone like Samuel, because one way to actually move faster in this field, this industry, is to actually have a close mentor, so to speak, like somebody you can actually reach out to when you face, challenges or when you are stuck. And trust me, I also still learn a lot from Samuel. He's a senior dev. So you're actually doing well. So that's okay. So in today's class, we'll be going practical. We want to, bring together all that you have learned so far. It's good to always practice. You go into theory and then you go into practical. I do not really advise just consuming theory. So it's good to, no matter how small, whatever you learn, try to, create it, develop it. That way you are encouraged that, okay, you are progressing. So today, let me share my screen. You let me know when you can see my screen.
I can see your screen now.
All right, makes sense. So before I say this, what can you see? What does it look like? Are you familiar with this? Have you seen something like this before?
On MS Word, or it looks like an MS Word for me.
Okay, looks like an MS Word. All right, now what you are seeing in front of you is what we call Figma. It's called Figma. And what is Figma? It's actually a powerful, design tool that helps you to create, websites, application logos, and what have you. So for developers, usually we work with UI UX designers. You are familiar with UI UX design, right? You know what UI UX means?
I only just know it's superficially like user interface and all of that.
All right, so UI UX, user interface, user experience. So UI UX designers are the ones who create these different designs, websites that developers work with. Yeah, they are the ones that create the websites, the designs that we get to develop alongside backend developers. So today you'll be getting familiar with Figma, and then we'll try our best to create this CV. Yeah, CV. And when you are creating this CV, I would like you to personalize it. You understand? Where we have John Doe, for me, I'll probably have my name, and you should also have your name. So when you have UX UI designer, you can just write it there as a website developer or front-end developer, anything that suits you. Is that okay?
Sorry, I have a question. This Figma, is it like an app, just like as in an independent app like VS Code, or is it an extension in VS Code?
It's actually an application on its own, but then there's a way you can actually install it on VS Code such that you can have it while developing, so that you don't have to actually be moving from one window to another. Maybe later we'll talk about that. But then this Figma, it's an app. Right now, I'm actually checking it out online. Like it also has a desktop application that you can install. You understand? So you can either go for the desktop or you can simply just use it online. But then as a developer, you don't need to actually um, disturb yourself so much about um, how Figma really works. But then you just need to pay attention to what you need to know about Figma as a developer. If you are interested in creating design, you can actually go and learn that on your own. But then today I'm going to just let you know the things you are supposed to know as a developer, the most important things, not really delving into deeper things. So this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. I want you to send your email in the chat so I can send an invite to you. That way you have your own copy. Is that okay? Just send your email in the chat. So I'll copy it and send and invite you to the file. Let me know if when you have sent it.
I've sent it. However, I'm joining with my phone. I don't know how this will be possible.
Okay, if you're joining with your phone, fine. You can still have it when you have your.
Yeah, but I've sent it.
All right, so let me come in. Let me get it. All right, so I've sent it. Is Emmanuel on the call? I just got his message now. Hi, Emmanuel, are you on the call?
Yeah, I'm on the call. I had challenges with power. I just joined now.
Hi, welcome. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay, so could you also send your email? So I'll add you to this Figma.
Okay.
Yes, please send your email.
I've sent it. I just got power now.
All right, that's okay. I understand the challenge with power. I hope it gets better for us in this country. All right, I've also sent you an invite. Yes, I've also sent you an invite. So you can actually view. If you are with your laptop, maybe you can view it. Well, if not, we could just make use of mine for now. All right, so like I said, this is Figma. Is a powerful tool for creating designs like websites, logo, any design at all. You have all the necessary tools here. So far we've learned HTML and then we started CSS last week. And I remember Sam taught us inline styling and internal styling. I hope you still remember inline styling and internal styling. All right, so since we want to create a CV, so let's just create a folder as usual and just create a folder. You could probably use your existing folder, but I think it's okay to just create a new folder. It doesn't hurt. So you can just call it CV. And like I like to come in. All right, so like I like to do, I open up my folder, then I come right here. When it shows me the path, then I type I type CMD. That is, I want the folder, I want my command prompt to open up this folder. And when this comes up, I type code dot. I'm telling VS Code to also open up this folder. So let me just go ahead and close the folder and this. All right, so please let me know if I'm too fast. Let me know if there's anything. We don't have much time, but I'll try my best. So we want to create, please, can you hear me clearly? I don't want to start talking to myself.
Yes,
Like,
you're audible enough.
all right, thank you for the feedback. So I want to create a folder. Let's just call it. We have index.html. Yeah, index.html. So you still remember how to, create the structure. Shift, not control. That's shift, exclamation mark. Then we have this. So now you can see we have documents here. If I go to my browser, okay, sorry, before that, let's open up what we have here. So let's go live. I'm sure you're familiar with this go live now. So when we click on go live, our website comes up. Yeah, it's starting. Cool. So this is it. There's nothing here right now. But then look at the tab, the status bar. This status bar now, I think so. There's documents here. But I want to change this document to CV. Yeah, because we want to create a CV. So let's just call it CV. So my VS Code saves automatically. So if I go here now, see CV. So if your one does not save automatically, you need to probably save, or you could go to your settings and look around. You see automatic saving there. All right, just so we're on the same page. If I type anything here, would have something good. All right, so which one are you comfortable with? Like from last week's lesson, if you paid attention, do you think we should use inline CSS or internal CSS? Geoffrey, Emmanuel, what do you think?
I think we should use external.
You're familiar with external CSS? Where you
Well,
taught external CSS last week? Or you learned that on your own?
I think I learned that from more, but I think that's what I'm more comfortable with. But since it was just a suggestion that you're asking which we should use, so
Okay, I think for the, this call is being recorded. Actually, I think we should actually use that external CSS. It's an opportunity to learn that. I made a mistake here. This should be index, not indie. Right. Since we learned internal and external last week, I think we should probably just we should just learn external and then do this whole thing with external CSS.
Okay.
Geoffrey, what do you think?
Yeah, that will be good. Then you also relate it so that I get to know the difference more.
Okay. All right, quickly. Now, when we're talking about internal CSS, inline CSS, external CSS. Now, for internal CSS, right inside this head, you can see this edge tag. That is where the CSS happens. Like that is where the styling happens. For inline happens in an opening tag. You understand? Let me quickly explain this thing briefly. Let's say we have H1, for instance, and let's say we have CV. Let's say CV is I don't know if this is correct. Curriculum. I don't know if it's correct. It looks like it's not. Curriculum by, okay, let me just put it side by side so that we see what we are doing. This is an error. Let me open this thing again. All right, let me start the app again. Okay, so we have curriculum by Tahe, whatever they call it. So we want to perform the 3 types of CSS on this thing. Okay, now let's start with the inline CSS. Inline CSS is closer. You understand? It is closer, and it takes the highest priority. You understand? It takes the highest priority. Now, if you want to style this, for instance, sorry, come on, okay, you want to style this, for instance, there's this tag called, as soon as you spell st, CSS is for styling, so they actually use the word style. So there's this style. So I'll click on style like that. Then we can start. Please give me a second. I'm coming. Give me a second. All right, so I'm back. Sorry, what's this? All right, so like I said, style. So now there's something, when it comes to styling, we actually work with properties. Like we have key and value. Like there's usually a key and there's usually a value. There's usually a key and there's usually a value. Now, for instance, if we want to give this text, remember this is a text, curriculum vitae. We want to give it a text, a color rather. I want to give this text a color of red. You understand? So right inside this style, we're going to, we want to give it the color. Now it's also that same color, the name color. So we have our color. Sorry, let me reduce this noise here. All right, so we have our color. Now, usually when you type color or that particular key, it comes, you type the key, and then after the key, you type a colon, not semicolon, you type a colon, and then you type the value. Do you understand? And then you end it with a semicolon. Are you with me? So this is inline styling, like you are styling inside that particular tag. You understand? Inline, the word inline, you're styling inside of it, inside the tag, like the same line where the tag is, that's where you're styling. And please take note, it happens in the opening tag, not in the closing tag. So if you see what we have here, yeah, you can see we now have our color. The color is now red. Let's change it to blue. Cool, you see that? So this is inline styling. Inline styling. All right, let's go. The next one I want to go through now is internal CSS. Now, like I said, inline styling takes highest priority. I'm going to explain that now. For internal CSS, we'll still use the style, but then this time around it's going to be like an opening and closing. You understand? It's going to be like an opening and closing. Now, if you type style here, for instance, now, cool. Can you see you have an opening and closing tag? So it is inside this place. That is where the styling will take place. It's a little bit different, just a little bit different. You understand? So you just need to pay attention to the difference. Now, remember we styled this color of blue. We want to do the same here. While this particular styling is there, this is where I will explain the priority thing. So let's say we want to style this H1. Now there are different ways to style in all this tag. Sam explained last week. You could actually style the tag itself, H1. or you use a class name or use an ID. Do you understand? But then let's just focus on the tag for now. So we want to start with this H1. The tag name is H1. So we have our H1. We just type H1. We have our H1. Yeah, we have our H1. Then the same property, key and value. So we have color. Then let's say we call this red. Now, Emmanuel and Godfrey, they're still there. You see that nothing is happening. Like, I've given H1 the color of red, but then nothing is happening. Why? Because the other inline styling here has taken priority. Let's call this inline styling. This has taken priority. This is internal. Now, if you want this to actually work, then you have to get rid of this. When I get rid of it, you see, so it now works properly. But then if that particular one is still inside, that is what will take priority because it is closer. Like I'm just trying to use that word closer so we can relate. Like it's closer to the tag. So it understands close relationship. All right, so you can see that works. Emmanuel, Godfrey, do you understand?
Yes, I do understand.
Emmanuel, Godfrey, do you understand? I can't hear you if you are talking.
Yes, I do understand. I don't know if you can hear me.
Can anyone hear me?
Can you hear
Yes,
me?
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Sorry, I meant to mute myself. So I was asking a question. I said, do you understand what I've explained so far?
I'm following me. I'm following you.
Yes.
All right.
Sorry. I have a little question. Sorry.
Okay, please go ahead.
In the case of this internal styling, the
Yes.
symbol is different. The symbol for the opening and the closing tag.
The symbol.
The
Yes.
curly bracket. It's talking about the curly bracket.
Okay. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay,
The bracket.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I did not.
Is it the brackets that made it internal?
Hold on, let me bring this back. Okay, no. What makes it internal is the fact that we are performing the styling operation inside the head. Do you understand? It is happening inside the head, and then we are making use of this style. That is what makes it internal. Do you understand? And what makes this inline is because it is happening on the same line of that tag. Do you understand?
Okay.
So the
Yes,
structure for inline is, you type your style equals to, then you open your parentheses, then you type the key. If it is color you want to change or give that particular text, you use the word color. Now, let's move on to say we want to change the background color. Color is different from background color. Color is for changing the text, while background color is like giving it a background color. So let's look at background color, for instance.
Sorry,
You see
but
background?
I think there's sorry to cut you.
Yeah?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, but I don't know whether we'll be going to the extra, but I think there's an override tag using important where you can override all of this.
Yes. There's a keyword called important. If you actually want a particular styling to take the highest priority to override any styling anywhere, you use important. Now let's do this. Let me quickly explain this. You can see that this color is blue. All right, let's try and use important here. It's supposed to actually bring it up. I mean, important. Please spell important.
Your spelling is
The
correct.
exclamation comes before the important.
Oh, thank you. The explanation comes. Oh, I knew that my VS Code was supposed to. So you can see that. So in the keyword important helps to override any styling whatsoever, no matter how the relationship is, whether you are inline or whatever. It would the important will take the highest priority. I think that was the manual that brought that up. Thank you for that. So you see that I added background color. So depending on the styling you want to do, you just need to know what the keyword is, the key, and then you provide the necessary value. Now, color is the key, blue is the value, background color is the key, aqua is the value. But then the both of them, you can call them property. Does that make sense? Emmanuel, I hope you understand why this is internal and why this is inline now, right?
Yes, I do.
All right, so now let's us move on to external styling. And that is what we'll be working with for our CV. So we'll just come right here to the root, and then we create a file. We can equally call it index.css. Yeah, we have created, I think I should put the two of them side by side. Now you don't want to put the two of them side by side now, so that you don't have to be switching from one tab to the other. While you are on this tab, then you just come over here, you see split editor right. So when you click it, you have this, so you can delete this. Okay, so we have HTML here, and we have CSS here. Does that make sense? But then, let's say the same way now. One thing about CSS, one thing about external CSS now is if you know how to write internal CSS, then you also know how to write external CSS, because it's actually the same structure. You have the tag name H1. Remember, we are styling the tag. You understand? We are styling that particular tag. That was why we wrote H1. If that tag is H2, we write H2. If it is H3, we write H3. Whatever it is, even this body can be styled. You understand? Now let's do it. Let's say body. When you are doing internal CSS, when you type your tag or whatever, you open the curly brackets, press enter, okay? You open the curly bracket, press enter. Remember I told you 2 Saturdays ago when I took Q that all these spaces do not really matter, but then it's just for, for readability, right? For readability. So let's say this is the body, or the body is white. It's white. So let's say we want to change the color. Yeah, let's say, sorry, the background color. Background color. Let's say we want to give it brown. Yeah, you see that? So that makes sense. So you can actually style using tag. You can use class name. You can use ID. You understand? Don't worry. As you move on, you understand this thing better. So I'll just comment this out. I think we should just work with our white background. So now this external CSS. Now external CSS is not happening in the HTML page. It is happening outside. From the word external, it's happening outside. That's why we have to create index.css outside. So now, but then one thing we need to do is, let's say if we type, for instance, the same thing we have here, H1, and then let's say we just put it here and change this one to maybe green. Let's remove the important here. Now, normally this H1 should already be green. The text should already be green. because it has that important keyword. But then nothing will happen. No matter the styling you put here right now, nothing will happen. Why? Because we have not linked this CSS to our HTML. So there's a place of actually linking external CSS to HTML if you actually want it to work. Are we together? So there's a way of, there's that place. So how do we link our CSS to our HTML? Emmanuel, I think you have worked with external CSS. So how do we go about
With a link tag, and it is nested inside the head element.
Right, so there's a tag called link. Now, if you take note of this thing we have been talking about, the things we try to do, that we think about, that we try to do, they're actually like the tag name. You know, I said we want to link our index CSS to HTML, and then I use the word link, and then the particular linking is actually link. So when you type link, it will bring out different things you can do with. But here we are working with CSS, so you can just click this one that has CSS. Right. So usually it comes with two sorry, what's the name of this thing again? Trying to remember.
Attributes.
Thank you. It comes with two attributes. So we have the href and we have the rel. Now, do you know what rel means and what href means, Emmanuel? I like that you already have the knowledge of this, so it's making the whole thing very interactive. So, do you know what rel means and what href means?
I think Ariel is describing the style sheet, what you are doing, and then the HRF is talking about the location.
All right, makes sense. So REL is like relation, like the relationship, some kind of relation, which is the style sheet. Do you understand? Like the style sheet is default. Do you understand? You can see when we clicked on it, it brought it out. So you need these two attributes for sure. And then this href is like it's called the hypertext reference. Hypertext reference. Don't forget that HTML means what? Hypertext markup language. So href is the hypertext reference. And what are we referencing? Now what we have here is styles, like the default that came is style.css. We could actually call our own style.css, and anything you want to call it, but then I chose to call it index.css. So when this thing comes up like that, what you need to do is, let me delete this. You need to reference the right external CSS. You understand? You need to reference the right external CSS. And what is it? It is index. You can see, I just type in and then it brought it out. Now, another thing is, if you want to know, you can see this time around, I did not type anything, but then it brought it out. What did I do? I simply pressed Control space. Like when you press Control space, then it suggests, this thing for you. In a situation whereby this index.css is in a folder, I think that would be very helpful. When you click on Control space, then you can now move into wherever the style sheet is. Yeah, if that makes sense, let's continue. So we'll just click on index.css. Did you see what happened? As soon as I referenced it, the color changed to green because this is now the important one. The color changed to green because that is now the important one. Now, does that make sense? I want us to go into the CV creation now. Let me check this one before. Check this one before, so that I can. I don't know if I can actually go back to the call. Okay, Emmanuel. Okay, there's someone else on the call. 10NG. Sorry if I not pronounce it well. I'm so sorry.
I'm with you, ma'am.
All right, welcome, please. Johnny, you're also here. Welcome.
Thank you. Sorry, last week I couldn't. I was in transit, so I couldn't join well. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that.
Thank you.
I hope you are relaxing now. You're not in transit.
Yeah. I'm home now. Just listen.
Right. All right. It's good to have you guys on the call. So I just explained the, internal inline and the external CSS. I'm coming now. Let me take this off my face. All right. So this is like, let me just write it here. So this is external styling. Now I want you to take note of something. Now look at the way the comments is structured here. And look at the way the comment is structured here. Look at the way the comment is structured here. So I think usually for different should I say languages now, or what should I call it? In HTML, if you want to write a comment, this is how you write a comment. You have your less than sign, exclamation, dash dash. Then you write your comment inside of it, then you close it with hyphen greater than. So this is something you can just take note. This is how it's written. But then a shortcut you should probably take note is when I wanted to do this, I didn't have to type it. I didn't have to type it. I simply pressed Ctrl Z. Did you see that? I simply press Ctrl Z. So it gives me the comment structure I need. So you can actually use it anywhere for any language. As soon as you press Ctrl Z, it will give you the right structure for that comment. You may not need to actually cram that, but then when you press Ctrl Z, it gives you that structure, and then I have my external styling. Now let me do the same here. In fact, that was the same thing I did here. I press Ctrl Z. Yeah, you can see I have the structure. Then I can now have my comment. Remember that comments are not usually executed. They are just for reference, for reference in case, let's say you have a large code base, there are some code bases you work with. You are not going to be there forever. You have to move on, move on to other things. So there are times that you work on a project and maybe you did something and okay, you need to actually explain what you did there. So you can just write a comment there so that then developer that comes on board will understand that, oh, this is what this is doing, this is what this is doing. You understand? But they are usually, it should usually be for, complex things, like some things that, okay, it's worthy of, notes. It's not every time you just be writing comments, But then things that are very important, you write a comment. Okay, so let's take a look at our Figma design. If you were not here when I showed them this Figma design, I said we'll be creating this CV. I hope you have the time to actually create this CV. And like I told those that were on the call earlier, make sure you personalize it when you are creating yours. If you're unable to create on the call now, please do that later when you are chanced, or personalize it, put your name, put your role. Right now you are a front-end developer, so you can just write it there. Or write anything that suits you. You get to put your picture here too. So this is basically what, let me increase it. All right, so all right, I think this CV looks cool. Please, I have invited some people to to this Figma file. Please, if you are just joining and you're just seeing this, kindly drop your email in the chat so that I can also invite you. So you get the invitation in your mail, then you'll be able to also open it on your end. Yeah, if that makes sense, so let's just continue. Now we want to replicate what we have here. Like we want to replicate what we have here. If you look at this thing, this Figma, as I'm clicking on different elements here, you see that something is happening on the right, on the left, and something is happening on the right. Now, usually for every element, they have the template that you see here. This was done, in fact, everything you see here, the design was done by a UI UX designer. I told the guys on the call earlier that you don't need to really stress yourself about this tool. It's actually a powerful design tool for creating logo, websites, what have you, different, all sorts of designs. But then it's primarily the work of a UI UX designer, user interface and user experience designer. It's actually their primary work. It's something they learn and they understand all of this. But then one thing worthy of note here is that you need to pay attention to is these elements. As you click them, you see comments, properties, export. Comment, properties, export. Usually this comment section is where you communicate with the designer. Imagine there's something not right on the design that was provided, and then you want to communicate with the designer. You could actually do that on WhatsApp or any other platform, but then you want to actually refer to something on the design. So you can see, let me go back. See this, there are bars, there are some tools here. And this one is actually like a move tool. This is like an hand tool, like you could use it to zoom in, zoom out. But then this is to add comments. Now, you can see that when I clicked on it, you can see it's showing that particular symbol, the same symbol that you see here for comments, it's showing it here. So that means when you just tap on it, you can type, add a comment. You can say, hello, something is up, what's up, what do you think? You could just type anything, and then when you press enter, the designer will get it. You can actually tag the designer. Now it's showing that, look at just now. I just sent a message. For those that don't know, I'm Pelumi Adetoye, but you can call me Pels. I think that's easy, that's short. So you can actually tag. Let me see. Okay, I'm the only one right here. Right, I'm the only one right here, so I cannot tag anyone. But then anyone that is a part of this design can actually be tagged. Sorry, this other one is my account, my other account. So I could tag my other guy. But then when you people get to when you accept the invitation to this file, I can always tag you. You understand? And then you get the notification in your email. By the time I type this, see now, let's say, are you there? And I press enter. Now I'll get the notification. If I go to my email now, this particular email, I would have gotten it, but then I don't let us waste time with that. When you accept my invitation, I'll write a comment, you get the info. So that's about comments. Now properties. Now usually for designers, you need to pay attention to properties and exports. Now for exports, usually if you need to get images, this particular image, if you want to use the exact image, when you click on it, it will still come back to properties. When you click on it, I've clicked on it now, I clicked on it and then you can see that it's showing the dimension 124 by 124. So it shows I'm actually on it. Now let's say I want to click on this one now. You can see this one is the container that wraps both the image and the title and the row. But then it's the image. If you click on this, if you look at it, two things happen. It's showing here on the left-hand side where the designer did the whole work. And then it's also showing on the right where we as a developer can actually get to import it, export it rather, to our system. So when you click on that element, you go to export, and then you click on add. Now you could actually preview before you export. Try to preview. Yes, you can see we have the right image. So you need to actually preview anything you want to export to be sure that you are exporting the right thing. Sometimes you think you have actually clicked on the elements, but then you're actually clicking on something else. Now look at this one now. Let's preview what's there. You can see it is showing everything that is inside of it. It's showing everything that is inside of it. But then what we need is the image. So I won't export this because I think I'll be using my own image. Now, one thing you also need to take notes here is this PNG, JPG, SVG, PDF. You know, it said that the best how's this thing called? The best type is graphics. Now,
Hi, Pelumi. We're just
Yep.
saying only the CV. Is that what you're showing? I'm not following up here. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm explaining this is a Figma file. So I'm trying to explain how the tool works. Shay, you're following what I've been saying since, right?
All right, yeah.
All right, so as I was saying, that if you want to download any image, it's best to actually download as SVG because it's actually it's better. You can actually learn more about that. So we'll learn more about that later. So you can pick anyone. Let's say one SVG. And when you click on export, you see it downloaded. All right. So I just wanted to show you that briefly. But then let's go to properties. Now this same image, if you click on property, you'll be seeing the width, the height, and the radius. I'm showing you these properties now because we'll be working with it. Do you understand? We want to design this CV. So we'll be working with the properties, the dimensions that we have here. Look at this John Doe. If I click on this element, John Doe, you can see it's showing the size is 32 pixels, the weight, the font, the name is H1. So this simply means that we should use the H1 tag. Let's look at UI UX design. This asks H2. So it simply means we should use the H2. Let's see this other one. Yeah, this is text. So this is like the P tag. Do you understand? Usually it's P tag. Now see these contacts about me. Now, there's something you need to pay attention to. Whenever you come across a Figma, I hope it's moving. It's not that it has freezed. Can we all see this moving? Anyone there? Can you?
Yes.
All right. So I just wanted to be sure we're on the same page. All right. So when you come across a Figma file like this, you need to relax and look at the design. There are some things, there are usually elements that have some things in common. Do you understand? There are usually elements that have some things in common. I will not go deeper into that, but it's good that you know it at this early stage. Now look at contacts. Can you see? The name is H4. The font is, we may not actually pay attention to the font, but then, this thing, I think they have the same font. Yeah, Inter. But we will just be working with the default font. Maybe in our next class or something, we could actually import the Inter font. But let's just pay attention to this. Look at contacts. I'm clicking the contact. It has name of H4, size of 12 pixels. Let's just work with the name and the size for now. Look at about me. Name of H4, size of 12 pixels. Look at tools and skills. Name of H4, size of 12 pixels. So there are elements that usually have the same characteristics. They have certain things in common. So they are the things that you need to pay attention to later on. You understand? It does not really work. With HTML and CSS, you may not really need to pay so much attention to it. But what you need to pay attention to is if you are using H4 for this, for those that look similar, if you check the properties and you see that they have the same properties, like this contact us is H4, you have to use H4 tag. This about me is H4, you have to use H4 tag. Tools and skills H4. All right, so let's just move on to create this thing. Now take a look at this, the entire container. The entire container. You can see the color. You can see it's not white. So we are going to start with that. We'll be starting with that. Why is this thing disturbing me here? How do I even take it? Let's see, come down here. Okay, cool. All right, so let me get rid of what we have here. All right, let me get rid of this. So we'll be using external styling. Using external styling. We're using external styling. Maybe I should just comment this out for those that will be coming to check for those that would probably still need it. So I'll just comment this out, sure. Oh, I'll just comment it out. For those that would still need it, I'll comment this out too. So just a way that works. All right, so like I said, we'll be using external CSS. Now this is our plain container. Let's call it a container where we want to develop the CV. Now let's go back to our CV. Now if you look at it, this is white, but then this one is not white. Now we need this. As I clicked on it, if you check this place, it's showing color. So there's a particular color. You could actually copy the color and use. Let me see the another color so that you see. Okay, let's just see this text. Look at the color. This one is black. This one is black. So we have black. You could use black normally, color black, and then you could also use hexadecimal. Do you understand? And then there's this other one too. What's the word now? These RGB values. But then don't worry, we could just work with the colors that we have here instead of using black, like color black, BLACK. We'll be using ash 00000. Now for this one, you could just use ash 000. All right, let's go back. So now we are starting with what has everything, like the particular, like the body. Let me put it that way, the body or the container. What carries our CV? The body. So now the body has this color. So you just come right here and copy the color. So I've copied it like this, or you can just click on it here. You can just click on copy. So look at the different color. And this one I was talking about, RGB. You can see RGB, CSS. This one is just moving up and down. Please let's just focus on our hexadecimal. So I have copied this. All right, so let me go to this place now. Emmanuel or anyone, I want to give this surface I want to give it that color. Let me go back to my code. Now, that is the body. I want to give this body that color. Please, everyone, you need to pay attention. And please, if I'm rushing, try to call my attention. I'll be going a little bit fast, but then I need you to understand still. So we want to change that color. Remember, we are trying to replicate that design. So this body now, if you want to give it a color, we are going to type body. When we type body, we'll now open the curly bracket. Now that body is the tag name. That is what we want to style. We'll write it, write curly bracket, and then we'll press enter. That is the structure. The tag, and then the curly bracket. Then what goes in there, what goes in there now is now a property. Now, what do we say we want to do? We want to change the background color. So that is actually the key, background color. So when we type, by the time we type BAC, it's supposed to give you the suggestion. But then it's actually advisable that you start with writing this thing by yourself so that you get used to it. So when you type background color, you type a colon. Do you understand? I have copied that color code, so I'll paste it. You see? Then I will now I'll type the last thing, which is semicolon. So if we go back and check, I don't know, did you notice any difference? Did the color change? Did you notice any difference?
No, I don't think there's any color difference.
There is actually. It is, how do we call this kind of color? We call it, let me put red. Red is more visible. Do you see that this changed? So that color is close to white. So it's possible that you do not notice it. But trust me, when you put this into practice on your end, you're going to notice the color. Oh wait, let me do something. All right. You can still see this body, right? Now let me change this to, let's say, white. Let's say white. Please though, take a look at it closely. Let me know if you see any difference. I don't know if you notice, there's actually a difference, but then that color is close to white. So let's just use it. So that's our background color. So in our CV creation, we have achieved this background color. Now what we need to achieve now is this. Now this thing has a kind of layout. It has a kind of layout. It has something like, we can call this like the header or something. So let me delete this. Let me take this comment away. I think I could actually hide it. All right. So it has a kind of layout. So this is like the top, like an header, and then it has the contact section, like different sections, like the header section, contact section, about me section, tools and skills section, education section, other section, then we have work history section. So we are starting with this section. Now there's something we'll be learning along the way or along the line. What's her name? Juliet, are you on the call? Juliet, are you on the call?
I think Juliet says it's okay.
Yeah.
Please let me know when we are supposed to go on a break so that we can relax from all that we are learning and then come back.
Okay,
just let me know when
time we start. I'm trying to calculate when we are supposed to rest since we didn't start at the normal time.
I think we started at
What time are we supposed to go on break? 3:30 or
Go on break. 3 o'clock.
Okay, so maybe Charles, you could try to wrap up in the next 5 minutes. Let's go on big by 3 10.
All right. So I was saying that, thank you, Sam. Thank you, Juliet. I was saying that there's something we'll be learning with this CV we are creating. That thing is called box model. Box model. Now, you probably still learn it more, but then please pay attention to it because there are a lot of things we'll be working with around here that you may not really be familiar with. Well, don't worry. Most times we pick up things when we start practicing. You don't get to learn everything theoretically, but then as we practice, some people actually learn on the job. There are some project people get that, they have that confidence during the course of the interview, but then they don't actually have the experience. But then they learn when the project starts. So we could actually do the same thing, right? So just to not bore us. So we have changed this color. Now what we need to focus on is this. When we look at something, can you see that there are spaces here? There are spaces here. Oh, let me go back to this list. We'll understand that better. So right here, we want to create that section, the section that holds the picture, the name, and the role. So we come right here. Let me bring this way. Okay. Right. I think this makes sense. This we can see. I hope we can still see. We can still see this CSS and we can still see this HTML. Is there any feedback? We can still see it, right? Can we still see it?
Yes, we can still see it. We can still see them. Yeah.
All right. So the first thing we have here is this particular container. See this container. We call it container. This container, look at the color. The background color is hexadecimal. Pay attention to two colors. Ash, FFF, FFF is white, pure white. Ash 0000000 6 zeros 6F. 6F ash 6 zeros is black, pure black, and ash 6F is pure white. But then you could shorten it if you don't want to write everything. Since they are the same thing, you could just white can be called ash FF, FFF like 3. You just pick 3. The same thing with black. So now this container, the color is white. Do you understand? The background color is white. But then it looks like, if you look at it, anytime you click on an element here, please try to look at the properties. It has a background color of this white, and then look at it has borders. If I take my cursor away from it, can you see like a thickness? Can you see like a thickness? And then there's also a curve. There's a thickness, there's a curve. So these are the things you pay attention to in designs. You can see a thickness sometimes, or you see a curve. Sometimes you see colors, sometimes you see different things. All these things, if you can picture it and then think about it, it would help you to learn this thing faster. Now this other one that looks like a thickness is called border. And then this curve, like you can see this curve at the left, at the top right, top left, bottom right, bottom left. They are called, we refer that to as border radius. Do you understand? This is border, but then that particular border is curved. So it is called border radius. Do you understand? It's called border radius. All right, let's start with that. So this is like a container. And like Sam told us in the last class, there's something there's a tag called div. There's a tag called div. There's a tag called div. All right, so that div, it doesn't really do anything in particular. Like it's just a container that houses different, element tags and all of that. It can also be styled though, you understand? But then it's like a container that helps us to move, right inside it, you can move things around. In that container now, in our Figma file, we have profile picture, and then we have the name and the row. Now, we are going to, we'll be having each of these elements, we'll be putting them in different containers. If you see, when I click on this, the designer already gave me a kind of, container showing that it's a kind of container. And just so you know, every element itself, they are like a container. Do you understand? They're like a container, but then they have different things that they do. So now let's start with this container. The border, let's add the border, let's give it a background color, the border, and the border radius. So this div now, okay, we said we'll be using inline styling. Good. Since we'll be working with different, be using divs for housing different elements, we will not style this div directly. You understand? We'll be making use of something I call something called class name. When you type, class, something called class. We want to use it to style this div. We can actually style it by just typing div, curly bracket, and then put our whatever it is there. But if we do that and then we use div again somewhere else, there's going to be a clash. Whatever styling we put here, if we have 10 divs here, all the divs will take the styling. So then, in order to be specific that, okay, in the family of divs, I'm referring to this guy. Do you understand? Not all of you. I'm referring to this guy. So this particular div, now let's give it a name. Use a class, like, let's give it a name. We can use class for ID. But then let's work with class. I'm sure Sam explained class and ID the last time. All right, I think before we go in depth, let's just take a break. I think it's 3:10, 3:12 already. So, Juliet, I think 5 minutes break, or is it 10 minutes break?
The time is up.
Yeah, the time is up. So, if you guys can hear me, I think we should take a break. We'll be back. I think we should come back 3:20. What do you think, Juliet? Whatever you say.
Okay, this is already 30 minutes. Let's just come back 3:25.
3:25.
Yeah, 30 minutes.
All right, guys. Guys, we'll be back 3:25. Please go and relax. If you have some time, you can do a little bit of what I've thought of. Hello, Emmanuel.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you something when you were talking about the div class.
Okay.
So, like, I was just wondering, the class name, they are different. You have special, you have highlight, and then I think you have some other. So I wanted to just ask, how do you determine which one you use when you want to use a div class? When you use the class attribute?
You said we have
I think class attribute. There are class attributes like special. Yeah, I think there's special. There's highlight, and then I don't some that I've seen recently from Richard that I've been doing. Well, don't worry, let me just maybe I can drop my question later in the group when I'm able to structure it well.
Okay, because I'm actually trying to get you, because class name, like the word class, is actually an attribute. It is used to, you are trying to point, you are trying to use it to uniquely identify a particular tag. You understand? You want to use it to uniquely identify or style something, style a tag or an element. But then the one you are talking about, maybe if you
Yeah,
can
because from research, the one I've seen is special. So, but I don't think that's it. But I don't think that's the only class attribute for the.
Sam, do you get what he's trying to say? Sam, are you there?
I think he's trying to make a call in the WhatsApp group. Okay, no problem. I'll see the class name attribute that you use now, and then maybe it will be clearer.
Okay, no problem.
Yes.
So I think we'll just continue. We have Boniface on the call, we have Emmanuel. So I'll just continue. I hope others join us soon. So
Just join.
now,
Boniface is staying. Thank you.
you said what?
I said Boniface is staying my laptop. That's why I was on earlier. I was on my phone. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay, I get what you said. Have you seen the invite I sent to you? I think you sent your email.
Let me check my email. Yeah, let me check my email.
All right, so we want to continue. Now, this part now is very important. It's very important, and I want us to pay attention. I'll be introducing something we call GitHub. Like we already said, some would have mentioned it, and I've also mentioned it before. You cannot, just learn everything like all at once. Or is that what I'm trying to say? I mean, you have to start picking things up when you start doing practical. Now, this project we are working on now, remember the folder is CV. But then before I get into that, I want us to just put a text here. We might not be able to continue with this CV creation because I want to quickly introduce something to us, and that thing is called GitHub. Has anyone heard of GitHub before? Anyone?
Yeah, yes.
All right, so GitHub, GitHub, hub. Most of these things, and they are something that if you think about it, you could actually, tell us what it is. So like GitHub is like, if I say, let me use the word hub, but let's just go with the word platform. It's like a developer platform that allows developers to that you get to store your code there, manage your code, share your code. There are times that we are not careful. Normally, we even lose certain things on our phone, on our laptop, if we don't save them. Thank God we even have a cloud. This Zoom call we are recording, Zoom session, as soon as we are done, it's being saved to the cloud. You surely even if you lose your system, even if you surely get it there. So like GitHub is such a platform that helps us, store our code. We get to push it. We use the word push from our local folder or local repository. For short, we call it repo. From our local repo, we push it to GitHub. GitHub is like the remote platform where we push our repositories. That way we don't lose them. All right, so quickly, before we go into that, let's just write, this is a plain body. It's just off-white color. But then let's just write something there. We'll come back to the CV next week. But then I want us to, this GitHub we'll be talking about, that's going to be the assignment we're going to give you. But then next week, we'll now go fully into this CV creation. But at least I'm sure you have learned one or two things about Figma. By the time you become a certified software developer, you'll be working with Figma like a lot. working with Figma a lot. So now we just want to write something here. Now let's just write CV, like curriculum vitae. Let's use H1. So inside this H1, sorry, let me take this off. Inside this H1, let's just write curriculum and put it at the center. Then we'll know. All right, so we have this H1. In fact, I don't think we need the div for now. We'll talk about the class. Emmanuel, I think you were the one who were asking question about that class. Don't worry, next week you would delve deeper into that. But then this one now, this curriculum vitae, I want us to just bring it to the center here. Then we'll talk about GitHub. Are we good? I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
The reason why we want to talk about GitHub is the little I have done here, I want you to have access to it. Do you understand? I want you to have access to it. That way you can even be using it, and that way you have it's like a note, like me sending you my notes. You are downloading or cloning, getting my notes, this particular notes into your own system. So now this curriculum vitae, hey, we want to bring it to the center. Can anyone tell us how can we bring this to the center? So I don't waste time. We said we'll be working with external styling. So this is H1. Let's just use H1 to style this. So we have H1, curly bracket. Thank you. This thing is simple. This is a text. And we want to bring it to the center. Like you want to align it to the center. It can be right. Presently, it is on the left. But we then want to change it to the center. Now, the keyword here now is text align. And then we press center. Oh, perfect. Now, imagine if I change this to right. What happens? It goes to the right. So we just want it at the center. All right, that makes sense. So now we're going to talk about GitHub. I'll quickly take us through the process of creating a GitHub repository, pushing to it, and then Juliet to round up. So quickly, I already told you you already know what GitHub is. Remember that we have this already. We have our local repository. Do you understand? Let's use repository. Do you understand? Don't let us use the word folder. Our local folder or repository is called CV. Now we need to now go to github.com. Let's go to GitHub. Let's go to github.com. Go to github.com. Now, so this is github.com. I'm sure you are all new to GitHub. But now it's showing some things here because, I'm not new to GitHub. I really don't know how. Okay, cool. Let me use incognito. Yeah, this should do. So let's go to github.com. Cool, this is what we have. Let's build from here. The world's leading AI-powered developer platform. All right, so we just go ahead. You can sign up. If you are with your system right now, please just go ahead and sign up. Follow the process. I don't want to sign up again. I already have an account. So if you don't have an account, you sign up, follow the process, enter your email, blah, blah, blah. So when you do that, you go ahead and sign in. Because I already have an account, so I will just go ahead and sign in. All right, to ask you to verify your account in a way, depending on what you want. I'm going to be verifying with the GitHub mobile. So it has sent me a request. So I'm going to approve by typing this 53. Please, you could download GitHub mobile too. I think that's cool. So I just did that on my phone and it redirected me here. Now, yours may not be like this. I think, I don't know how it's going to look like, but then these are some developers' work. different developers, what they did recently. So it's showing all of that. But yeah, this is what we need to focus on. I just signed in to GitHub. Please, before I go further, who can tell us why are we here, please? Why are we on GitHub?
I think because you said it's a repository, it will be like a kind of a backup for everything that we'll be doing, like a storage facility for
Thank you.
future reference.
Thank you. It's a platform where developers, push their code, where they collaborate. Do you understand? Different developers get to collaborate on this platform. It's a very, very good platform. You could actually type on Google what's GitHub, like what happens on GitHub. You get quite a number of information there. All right, so these things that you see here, you may not see anything yet, it might be empty, but then these are the repository that I've had to engage with. That's why you're seeing top repository, recent activity, blah, blah, blah. So this place is likely going to be empty for you, but this is what you need to pay attention to. When you are signed in, after signing up, you see your username here, whatever it is. My username here is misspelled. So what we want to do, like I told you, we already have a local repository, CV. All right, so let's go ahead and create new. Click on new. Click on new. Now you come to this place, then give your repository a name. So let's call this let's say we just call it CV or Maxify CV. Let's just call it CV. Yeah, we can just call it CV.
Call it Maxify CV, so we'll just reference it.
All right, thank you. So let's put Maxify underscore CV. All right, so you can decide to make this repository public or private. Public or private. Now, when you make it private, then it's actually private to you or anyone that you give access. There are ways that you can give people access to a particular repository.
Your call at the moment. Please leave your message after the tone. To re-record your message, press hash at any time.
All right, thank you. I'll leave a message. All right, so sorry about that. So I think we should just make it private. You said? Is anyone saying something? All right, so I think we should just make it private. Please hold on. Let me close this door. All right, I'm back. So we have named it Maxify CV. Let's make it private, and you don't need to, you'll learn more about all this later. Well, the most important thing is repository name, and then you can write a description if you wish. Okay, I think we should give it a description. Let's say Maxify Bootcamp. Front end development bootcamp. Yeah. Maxify front-end development bootcamp is optional though, but it's cool. Like, just when anyone comes to this repository, they can actually know what it is about. So this is quite descriptive. So then we click on create repository. All right, we have created our repository. Now, what we want to do now is what we already have here, this repository, the local repository here, the local folder. We want to push the content, like we want to push the content to our remote repository. So how do we go about it? Now, if you look at it, we have thank God, or let me say thanks to GitHub, they actually helped with some things we can work with here. But so that we do not waste our time, what we'll just do now is we'll follow this step. Okay, we'll follow this step. So now let's go back to our this thing. Let me close this one. All right, so that we can see what we are doing. So I don't know, has anyone used bash, like this git bash inside VS Code before? If you have git bash, when you click on this place, this toggle panel, it will show up your command prompt. So it could be the default PowerShell or bash. Please, I want you to try that. Meanwhile, you can as well just open it this way. You can as well do this. You know, the way I did it earlier. Open, when you click on this, come here, press CMD. All right, so you can as well do it here. So I think we should work with this. If you can, you know, help yourself with the VS Code own, fine. But then I think we are all used to this. So now, go back to VS Code. What's the first thing we need to do? We need to initialize Git. We need to initialize Git. You know, Git is actually different from GitHub. Can anyone tell us the difference between Git and GitHub? Anyone? Anyone tell us the difference between Git and GitHub?
I think Git is like an extension on the VS Code, while the GitHub is a platform where you store repositories.
Okay. All right. So Git is actually like a control system, or they call it a version control system. It actually helps you, or helps us, or help developers to manage and keep track of their code. Yeah, it helps developer to manage and keep track of their code. So you actually need to initialize Git in order for you to be able to push to GitHub. So GitHub, there's a relationship between them, like a relationship, an unbroken relationship. You understand? So Git is a version control system that lets us manage and keep track of our code history. While GitHub is just like, you know, like the cloud, the remote, like an hosting service. Yes, I think that's the right word. Like an hosting service that allows us to manage Git repositories. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. So we already have our local repo. So we want to push it online. We want to host it so that anyone out there, if given access, if it is public, anyone that finds it would have access to it. But if it is private, you can give it access. So what we have here is Git init. So what we want to do now is type Git init. So what it's saying, it says initialize empty Git repository. So that's the first thing. The next thing here is Git add. You may know this readme.md. That's just like, it's just like a file from the word readme. We may not need to pay attention to that for now. But then there's some repository that you come across. You see that readme.md, that file is actually it's usually to describe what that repository is about. If you are new to a particular code base, sometimes, in fact, most times, they add a README file so that you understand what you are getting into. But then let's just leave README for now. So what we'll just do is Git add. Now, what we are doing now is we have initialized Git. We are simply saying, Mr. Git, please help me to keep track of my code. I do not want to lose it. Help me keep track of my code. So now, after telling Git, so we now want to add. What are the things that we want to add? What are the things that we want Git to keep track? So we simply want Git to keep track of everything. So when you say Git add, then you add dots. Do you understand? That is, that dot is referring to that repository. Like you are referencing that repository. Dot, you are saying Git add this repository, this current repository. So you press enter. Please, you probably need to write this down. I remember when I started learning how to code, I had a book where I wrote so many things. There were times that I had to, look at my book, but now it's quite easy. So after adding, now what we now need to do next is to save. In development, saving means commit. Like when you want to save changes, you are committing. Okay, you are committing what you have done. You are saving what you have done. So you are saying git commit, then minus m. It's very important you put minus m. Git commit minus m. Then you have your braces, your quotation. Is it quotation? Yeah, see your quotation. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Inside it, it's always advisable to, not even advisable, you have to write a comment what this is about. What we have done so far is we are trying to, or let's say we have learned about Figma, Figma. So we could just write something like Figma, introduction to Figma, intro to Figma. So the comments you are writing in here, we are trying to, this will actually help you. All these comments help you to keep track of what you did the last time you saved changes. Do you understand? What you did the last time. So, you still get to explore GitHub, and then you see how this works. So what we have done so far is introduction to Figma and a little other things. So we'll press enter. Git commit minus m, enter. Now if you look at what is happening here, 2 files change, 35 insertions, create mode index.css, create mode index.html. Basically, so far we created index file and CSS file. So you can see the two of them. So it's simply telling us that, okay, we have now saved everything inside HTML file, everything inside CSS, inside index.css. So right now, Git has our repository. Yes, Git has our repository and everything inside of it. So now the next thing we now need to do is, git branch minus m main. Actually, you can decide to call this master, but then this main or master is like the what do I call it now? It's like the from the word main, like the major, the main, the chief branch. Now, if there's a chief branch, that means there can be several other branches. It's like a tree. Yeah. There can be several other branches. So we can call this main, we can call it master, it doesn't matter. Just follow the process here. Do you understand? So when we press enter, all right, you will not see anything, but then it's actually main. Now, if you want to see it, I think bash usually shows us bash usually shows us, but then I think it's my name that is displaying here for now. But let's just focus on this. So let me mix things up. So what we are doing is we are following this quick setup. Now when we have done that, now in order for us to now push, we need to add this remote repository, the origin. Like which origin? Where do you want to push your code to? What's the address? What's the address? You cannot just push it anywhere. You have created a repository already. Okay, you have built an house and then you want to move in, right? So you are moving into a specific place, not just moving anywhere. So now we have, let me take this away. So we have I paste this here. Let's just type it. We have git remote hard origin. You can copy it if you can copy it, but I just want to type it at github.com : misspells. Yeah, that's my account. If it is your account, you see your account, your name, Maxify cv.git. All right, so I think this is correct. So press enter. All right, so you may not see anything as well, but then it has actually added it. Then you go, except you get an error, but then if there's no error, just know you're good. Then the next thing is push. We have finally gotten to that point. Push. So we are saying git push -u. That u is like upstream, like directly to that repository. Git push -u origin main space main. Now remember that the branch we created, up there in the repository, in the remote repository, is main. So we're actually pushing to that branch, which is main. So when I click on it now, you see what will happen. Right. So enumerating, counting, like it started processing and then it has pushed. Now, how do we know that it has actually pushed? Let's come here and reload. So let's just reload this page. Oh yeah, can we see that? So look at the comments. Intro to Figma. So right now, even if somebody comes to wipe up my laptop, I still have my work. I have my work on GitHub. So I just need to sign into GitHub. Then I'll check repositories. And then see, if you come here now, you see your repositories. Let me click on it. You can see I have several other repositories, but then this is the latest, Maxify Bootcamp CV. So when I click on it, we have, we have the platform. So this is our index.css, our HTML.css. Now, in order for you to have it, or in order for you to give people access to it, I made it private. Which means you need to be a contributor. I think let's just make it public. Let's make it public so that we don't have to deal with sorry, I'm coming now. Yeah, let me just change the visibility to public. Yeah. All right, that way everybody have access to it. So it's not public. You can see that lock symbol is not here again. So now you want to give access to people. Now I've done something here. This is what I've done so far. You can see what I've done so far. This thing, there are codes behind what I've done so far, and I need you to have access to it. So I just go back to this place. I click on this code. Okay. So you can decide to send HTTPS or SSH. Okay. So I usually work with SSH. I think HTTPS and SSH is something to discuss later. But either of these, you send to the person that you want to give access to. So I'm going to send it. To the group, and then I would invite. Are you there, Juliet?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So I have pushed our code, and then I need you to take up from here. you would teach us on how to go about having my local repository that I've pushed to the remote server to GitHub, how you can have it on your system and then do one or two things with it. But before Juliet comes on board, do we understand this process of GitHub repository creation? Emmanuel, Godfrey, Boniface. Does it make any sense? I can't hear you.
I really don't understand.
You don't understand? You didn't even ask any question. Or you're planning to go over it again?
I'm planning to go right.
All right, but at least you understand the fact that GitHub is a platform where you push your code, right?
Yeah.
All right, so just hold on to that. Yes?
Sorry, I think apart from following this process or processes that you just followed, there's another avenue where you can just upload it like a file. You upload the file there.
Yes, you can do that too. You know, these things, there are different ways to get these things done, but then, we need to actually pick them one after the other. Other ways is something you could, pick up by yourself. So, you can actually try that other way. The most important thing is to, push our local repository to our remote. That way other developers can, collaborate. You can share it with people. You can probably get a job and then they want you to, create a design, develop a design, and then they will ask you to share the GitHub repository link. So you need to be able to push whatever you have done locally, push it to GitHub, then get the link that has been generated, then you send it to anyone that wants to check what you have done. So Emmanuel, before Juliet comes on board, what's the question exactly? What is it that you not understand?
Well, I don't know. I'll just have to go over the whole video, especially from this part, because from the command prompt where you were putting in those lines of command, I think, and maybe if you write it, if those lines can be sent in the group, and then maybe I can try.
You know what the lines or the commands that we had to write and get to this point. It was actually GitHub that provided it. There was this quick setup, if you remember. I was just typing what was there. So it was not like I'd crammed anything or because I have the knowledge. No. GitHub, like every time, even if you have 20 years of experience, if you create a new repository, GitHub will still help you with the setup. So
you can take it off from the.
You said?
That you can take it off from the command shell the way you were doing.
Like once you create a repository and you see the quick setup, what you simply need to do is the normal way you open your folder, like this time around, you are not like opening it in VS Code. You just want to, it is in this command, this terminal, that is where you do the whole pushing. So I think you actually need to relax, go through this video. Thank God you said it just, thank God you said it just this part.
Yes.
So
I'll go through over the video when the link is sent.
Okay, fine. I actually understand how you feel. I felt the same way when I started. There were times that I'll get really frustrated at what's up. But then as you do it over time, if you don't give up, you have to be consistent so that this thing.
The steady practice, and then I will definitely ask questions in the group during the group if I encounter any challenge.
All right, please do ask questions. So we want to the next.
I already have a GitHub account. That was the first thing.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. You already have a GitHub account. What you simply need to do is create the remote repository and follow that process and push there. You understand? I would really appreciate if you're able to do yours, and then in fact, that is the assignment every one of you will do. We'll give you an assignment, and then you send the link to us on the group, so we'll see what you have. All right. So
excuse me, Pelumi. What's the difference between GitHub and Git Bash? I saw Git Bash and then GitHub. And Sam using Git Bash the other day.
come again, please. So what's the difference between what?
The GitHub and the Git Bash. I saw you mentioned something about Git Bash earlier on.
Yeah, Git Bash is it's a command, it's a terminal or a command prompt from Git itself, like its own Git owns that. Do you understand? But then if you get a system, there is also a terminal that comes with it. You can see my screen, we have command prompts. But then Git Bash is also a command prompt, but then it's from Git, and I think it's fancy. Let me show you. I have it styled here. Yeah, look at it. It's just fancy. You can see this Git Bash. It's just fancy. I think it's actually cool compared to this. This one is just black and white. All right, so I'll be handing over to Juliet now. So Juliet, you can decide to work with the HTTPS or SSH. I've sent both of them there. All right, thank you, everyone. Juliet, please.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Juliet.
Stop sharing.
Kipels, you can stop sharing now.
All right, sorry, were you guys saying? Okay, fine. Sorry, you are not just seeing my face. I thought you were not seeing my screen.
We're seeing your screen. We're not seeing your face.
Oh, sorry.
Can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay, if you can see my screen, then let's start. Okay, first things, Pels share the stuff on WhatsApp. So this is the SSH and this is the HTTP. So I'll be using the HTTP. So when I click on the link, like she said, this is a place where we can save anything we want, all our code. I could remember Samuel here lost his system one time. So had it been he didn't save anything in the GitHub, he would have lost every file. So, but he was able to recover everything back from Git. So this is the file, the CV, Maxify CV. So for me to be able to have access to this or to work on it, maybe to do some changes, all I need to do is to clone it, like to clone the repo. Like you already know the meaning of clone. You already know the meaning of clone. To clone a GitHub means like to to have exactly that same GitHub, like to have access to the whole thing. So here we'll just click on the code. So I'll be using HTTP. So when you copy this, I can actually use the one she sent, but I just need to copy this. So when you click on this, you copy. It's already copied. Then you go back to your. Okay, let me create a fresh this. Don't mind me, many things will seem somehow because I'm using Mac. So I don't know if anybody's using Mac. So I'm using Mac, so many things will look different. So here, this is my own Git badge. This is how it looks. We'll call it Terminal Mac. So let me push this down a bit. Can you all see this?
Yes.
Okay. So now I'll have to, normally you know how to get your way around. Some of these commands are not the same. Windows and Mac, they are not the same. So here I'm currently not on the desktop, so I'll have to CD into the desktop. So I'm already on desktop to be sure. So I have to just do ls. That's a list of the things on my desktop. So correct. So I'm on desktop. So all I need to do is git clone. So this thing is, I think it's the same thing with Windows. Whether Windows or Mac is the same thing. So git clone, you write your clone like this, space, then you paste that stuff you copied. So just look around. It's cloning. It's done. So when I come down to this part, oh, and this thing is kind of blocking me. How do I get access to this? Okay, cool. Oh, this is it here. Can you see this? Hello, can anybody hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I don't know. I like more of an interactive class where you can talk and I talk, everybody understand each other. So this is the index.css and this is the index.html. So I'll be opening this with my VS Code. I drag down to my VS Code. And here we are. And okay, so I think this is what she have there. Can you remember this?
Yes.
So this is exactly what we have there. This thing is really disturbing me.
Well, I think sorry to cut you. I think this is like the internal or inline styling, but she made reference of using external styling also. I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but I just want you to understand what I did here. The project on her system is what I moved down to my own system, exactly the way it is. If you recall, from what she have in her system, she did the curriculum vitae. So I want to run the code so that you can see. I don't know why this thing is kind of disturbing me. So I'll be going live now. When I go live, this is what she have in her system, right? Are you understanding what I'm doing at all?
Yeah, I'm following.
Yeah, that's how we are doing.
Okay. What I did, let me explain better. What I did was, for instance, now when you work with an organization, we'll be given a project to design like the Figma. So they can ask you, maybe they'll be like, Emmanuel, please work on this login form. Jeffrey, please, can you work on this? Everybody will have their own different tasks. So by the end of the day, we'll have a good and working project. So all we need to do is when I create the project, the project repository, I give each and every one of you access to it. Then you pull. Maybe I design the header and footer and ask you to design the content. When you pull, you have access to the header and the footer. Like this. Okay, I have access to what Pearl's design. For instance, maybe I want to add my name and the rest of it here. I want to add one or two things here. So after adding it, I'll push it back. Then when she deploy or when she pull it again, it will not be like this. Something must have been added. So that is the aim of this whole thing. So I don't know if this explanation helps better.
Yes, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, good. So that's what I'm about to do now. So I will go to the code. What I need to do is add one or two things, make one or two changes. Then so you will know how to push, because she did her own push as the person that created the project. So I'll be pushing as someone that have access to it. So there are two different things, because in my own end, I'll be creating my own branch so that you know how to create a branch when you have this kind of situation. So that's what I'll be doing. Okay, this is my Git my VS Code. So here in this HTML, I will have, I don't know, maybe you will use the external CSS here so that you can have access to the understanding. So she made mention of something like class. So this class now, there are different, there are class and there are IDs, but we'll use class first. So this class, you can give it any name you want. For instance, you can decide to call it maybe Juliet. Is like identification, like what you'll be identifying it with when you want to style. You understand? So if I want to style this thing, this curriculum writing now, I won't be calling it H1, because in my project I may have like 10 H1s. So when I call H1 in my CSS, automatically all the H1s will obey the command. So for instance, I'll be calling this Juliet. So if I want to style here, is it linked? Okay, the CSS is linked. So when I come down to this place, okay, this H1 here, she's already styling H1. Maybe I just work on something else. Okay. Okay, let's just say H2. My name is Juliet. So here, I'll give it this a class name. I'll call it Juliet. So this is it here. My name is Juliet. This stuff I have here. My name is Juliet. This is it here. So remember, this one is having a style of aligning center, but this is just normal. So when I come to my styling, I'll come down here. So for you to have access to that name, this name we'll have here, for you to have access to it, you use dots. In class, we use dots. In ID, we use hash. I think I'll have to explain this. We use dots, Juliet. Okay. So maybe I'll just give it, what do I give this? What easy style can I give to this? Okay, let's give it color. Do you understand what I did? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just used class to style this. Normally, easily I can say H2, since it's the only H2 there. I can still call this H2 and it works. So anyone, but remember that if I have, okay, for instance, now let me have another H2 here and call it a software developer, something like this. Automatically, when I come here, it have this style. But immediately I come down to this place, leave this H2 here, then come down to this Juliet. Okay, I still have it there. Then come down here, I'll have Juliet and give it color of red or something else. Do you understand what happened now? This one is, both of them are H2s, but this one have a class. This class is just like your name. Yes, let's call it your name. For instance, you are Emmanuel, you are Jeffrey, you are this. Whenever you're walking around, if they just call Jeffrey, automatically you answer. So that is what this thing is doing, is obeying the name, the class, the ID or whatever, the ID, the class is obeying it. So let's just quickly use ID. So you can just have knowledge about that too. You come down to this place, you write, I'm a cool lady. I'm a cool. On X, you have your P tag, you have this. Hope you're following, please.
Yep.
So you have your ID. You can still call it Juliet. Okay. You can still call it anything. Can I name this? I have problem with naming convention. Let me call it Pearls. Pearls. So when I come to my styling here, you know, in this class, I used dots, but in ID, you'll be using hash pairs. So wherever you start here, let me give it color of. Do you get this now? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
we do.
So now,
We have less than 10 minutes.
okay, let me quickly push this. So now all we need to do is make a quick push so that when next Pearl visit this project, she'll be seeing something different. Now she'll be seeing different styles. So this is my terminal. In Mac, we have terminal. In Windows, we have bash. So first thing I have to do, if you look at this place, I don't know if you're seeing my screen very well. If you look at this place, what you'll be seeing here is main. Remember, Pearls created main. She called hers main because she's the owner of the repository. I'm just a contributor, like I'm trying to contribute to the work she's already. So I have main here. For me to have my own name, so what I need to do is, first things first, I have to do git checkout -p. Then I will just choose a name. I just call my name Juliet. I love my name so much. So if you look at this place now, look at the message here, switch to a new branch, Juliet. So look at it, Juliet. So I can now do whatever I want to do, git add dots. So git commit -m. So like Pearl said, we are supposed to be keeping track of whatever we have. So here I will keep a message, explained class and ID. See, 2 files changed, 14 insertions, whatever, which are these 2 files. So what I need to do now is, okay, there is something I would like to do here, but it's not necessary now, but you might need it. So, when different people are working on a repo, so if you don't want to have conflicts, maybe as I'm working here, maybe Pearls is doing her own changes, wherever everybody is working on their own. So it should be a tradition of for you to just know this, that anytime you want to make a push, you just quickly do git pull. Someone can relate. When I started newly, I normally create errors because I would just push back and error everywhere would just turn red. Because I may have changed some things and he may have changed some things, the whole thing would just CSS. He also worked there and everything just clashed. So you first do git pull. Sorry, this is an error. You do git pull origin main. So it's telling me that's already up to date. That means I don't have any new changes coming in from the main repo. So it's cool for me to push. So I'll just git push origin. Remember, I checked out my name to be Juliet. So origin Juliet. Git push. Permission denied too. Pels, I think Pels is supposed to add me as a contributor for me to be able to push. Hello, Pels, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I don't know. I think you're supposed to give me access to be able to push to the repo.
I already made this thing public now. What's wrong with this?
Git push origin Juliet. The requested URL returned error file train.
All right, let me check.
So while waiting for Pels to check on our projects, is there any question you have for me before we continue?
I have a question with regards to the class and the ID. One was specified by dots, the other was by hash. What happens if you do the opposite?
Yes. Hello.
I said, well, let's say where you're supposed to put dots, you put hash, and where you're supposed to put hash, you put dots. Would there be a problem?
There will be a very big problem because it will not respect it won't work. For instance, if I remove this and put dots, if I come down to this place, it's not taking the style. Remember, we have purple here. Can you see it?
Yes.
So it's definitely not going to work. And if you use only Pels, it's not going to work. It won't even recognize it. So you use hash, it won't work. It's giving me option that the hash I have is Juliet. So all I need to do is use this. And I don't know if you notice something, while I made my change, you see something like 1 here. If I want to push now, it will tell me to commit the last change I made. So when you're working with Git, hello, Pels, are you talking to me?
Sorry to cut you short. Give me your email so I can add you as a collaborator.
You sent message to my mail?
Send your email rather, so you'll be able to push.
Okay, let me quickly send that on WhatsApp. Done.
All right.
Does anyone have question again?
Yeah,
Jeff,
you were talking about
to
why.
answer your question.
You were talking about why anytime you make a change here, there turns to 1 also before else interrupted.
Okay. For instance, I change this to dots. It changed to 1. So whatever change I make here, for instance, just keep looking at the 1. If I add something else, it's changed to 2. See, I've not even added anything, but I made a change to the current to what I have here. So automatically it's going to change. So is either I commit the new change or I Control Z to go back. Oh shit. Oh shit. It's back to normal.
Send an invite.
Okay. Let me just quickly access that. Okay, I think this is the first thing we're supposed to do. Maybe from here, I'll clone, but since we already cloned, let me go back and check. I've accepted invites. Let's try again. It has gone. So can you see my screen, please?
Yes.
Okay. So the changes have been made. New branch created, Juliet. So now I'll have to go and make a PR. There's something they try to, create a PR so that Pels can quickly merge it into because what I push now has not counted yet until I merge it into her work. So that stuff I pushed, Juliet had recent pushes 3 seconds ago. So this is what I just pushed. This thing you're seeing here, new branch, whatever. This is the result of that stuff. So what I need to do is compare. I'll compare the PR is pull request. Remember I said explain class and ID. So this is it. So I'll have to create a pull request. Able to merge. I can't merge this because you're seeing this now because we are just trying to explain things. In a good project, Pels is supposed to, give this access. She's the only one that have access to it. When I try to merge, it will tell me that I cannot merge. She'll be the one to merge. So I will just notify her now that I made a PR. Then she will just go and, merge. So immediately she merged this. When next she opened that her project, automatically what she'll be seeing is this new stuff that I did here. This is what she'll be seeing. Previously she only have curriculum variety here. So she'll be seeing my name is Juliet, I'm a software dev, I'm a cool lady, she'll be seeing it. So do you have questions for me about this? I know the whole thing will be very overwhelming now. Do you have any question?
Sorry guys, we are almost out of time. I don't know if else can quickly merge so we could wrap up.
Okay. Okay, let me stop sharing my screen so that Pels can stop the share. Pels, can you quickly share your screen and merge, please? Can't hear you, ma.
Okay, sorry about that. So thank you, Juliet. So Juliet has pulled my work. I pushed and then she pulled my work. She got the same, repository on our system. So she made some changes now, and then she pushed back to that origin, the remote origin. So what I simply need to do, let me share my screen. Let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, she pushed. Here, I'm down. All right, so she pushed. Now that I'm back here, the repository I created, I'm the creator. I'm the one that I own if you check this place now, look at where we have. Initially, I should have showed you there was just one branch here, but now there are 2 branches. Now, if you click on it, you will see the 2 branches. The main, which is the one I created, which is like the default branch, and Juliet created a branch. Now, please don't forget, the reason why she had to create a branch is to ensure that she can work independently. If she didn't create a branch and decide to work on that same branch, just the way she cloned it, there will be conflict. Do you understand? So anytime you clone a project, ensure that before you start working or making changes to that repository, make sure you create a branch. You check out to a new branch so you can decide to call it anything you want. Now, if we look up here, you'll be seeing pull request. You see pull request. Juliet, kindly take a screenshot so that we'd have this on our platform. So we'll say pull request. So when I click on it, exactly, you can see that opened 3 minutes ago by Juliet, like this is our username. So what I'll now do now is I'll open it, I'll click on it. She has contributed. That is what one thing about GitHub. It helps you to share projects. You can share your project with other people, and there are other people that can contribute to that repository. You can have a project, a full project, and then someone will work on login, someone will work on sign up, still on the same repository. When everybody is done, they push, and then whoever is the team lead, for instance, will now merge. So if you see, Juliet, whatever, wants to merge. The commit means, don't forget that commit means like changes that you saved. Want to merge one commit into main from Juliet branch. So from Juliet branch, I want to merge it into main. So when you go down, you can see merge pull request. As soon as I merge, do you understand? As soon as I merge, then I would have our own changes. Like I'll have our own changes. Now, please, before you merge, just to be sure that she worked independently, you see this branch has no conflict with the base branch. So that means there's no conflict. We are good. I can merge our work successfully with mine. So I'll just click on merge request and then I'll confirm merge. And cool, pull request successfully merged and closed. So if you check here, there are no pull requests, there are no open requests. So if I click on this Maxify CV, so you can see it says me, Pels, I have merged pull request from branch Juliet, like branch Juliet that is on my repository. Okay, so lastly, as we round up, she has done this, but then it has not automatically, come in here. Like if you look at it, what she did is not here. See, my name is Juliet, is not here. So after merging right there, in order for me to now have a work, I will need to pull. I will need to what? Pull. I would actually need to pull. So what I need to do right now is Git. Don't forget that I merged from Juliet branch to the main branch. So I'm pulling from the main branch. The main branch has the updated code. Juliet branch only has my previous change and our own change. But then as soon as I merge, that main branch is now the base branch that has the updated code. So I want to pull and have Juliet's work here. So just take a look at it too. As soon as I pull, you see it's going to drop. All right, so git pull origin main. I am pulling from remote origin, like from the cloud, from GitHub, from the main branch. So I'm telling Git, Git is what keeps tracks of our code. So I'm telling Git to pull from that remote origin and from branch main. So git pull origin main. When I type and I press enter, cool, did you see what happened? Immediately I got changes that I merged to main. So my name is Juliet, I'm a software dev, I'm a cool lady. So if I go up here and check it, what she did, I'll have it here. You can see my name is Juliet, I'm a software dev, I'm a cool lady. Does that make sense? Hello?
Yeah, it does make sense. But I would like to make a request.
Okay.
Is it possible for the recordings to be made available earlier than it usually is, so that we can maybe have like 2-3 times sections to watch? Because if you see, sometimes they are like 2 hours, 3 hours. so we can make time, go through it before the class, the next class.
Okay, work on that.
Thank you.
All right, so Sam, I think you should.
Okay, thank you very much, Pels, and thank you so much, Juliet, for the session. It was insightful. So, guys, basically, what I would recommend and advise is, you make time, go through these sessions, watch them, and then also do your own findings. Should in case you encounter any challenges, you do feel free to communicate in the WhatsApp group. So basically, just to run a recap, everything she touched today was trying to give you an insight on how to navigate around Figma, because when you're building projects for an organization, definitely the UI UX team designs a prototype on that Figma. So it's going to be, so basically they are designing a look-alike of what you're supposed to implement. So they'll give you those designs, you now convert them into the actual code. So she walked us through on how to navigate through. And then basically, if you're building a project, most times you may not be working alone. So because you're working with a team, so you can, the tasks can be assigned. Okay, you work on this section, you work on this section. So now, after you work, you guys can now push to a central place where the whole code base are meshed. And that's where GitHub now comes into play, right? And then she basically walks us through on how to create a repo, and then she set up a repo and then added Juliet, Juliet as a collaborator. Juliet made some changes and pushed back, made a pull request, that's a PR, open a PR. She now merged so that all those changes, both her work and then the work of Juliet now were merged together as one job. So yeah, maybe going forward, and maybe for the task or the project, I hope we will be able to do. We'll also be trying those practices. So do well to, for the start, create your own GitHub account for those who doesn't have it. It's quite straightforward. It's as good as trying to create an account on Facebook or something, right? So create your own GitHub account, and then she has added us to the Figma board. So for those that didn't drop your email, you can drop your emails in the WhatsApp group so that you'll be added to the Figma board so that you can see that prototype. So then once you have once you add it to the prototype, you don't need to wait for anyone, right? You can start trying the implementation already. At least use this week to try doing the implementation. Use this week to create your own GitHub account and a repo, and then push to that repo. So by the end of this week, what we hope to get from you is a repo that has what you were able to do during this week. So our next session, or before our next session, what we'll be requesting for probably on Friday is the link to what you have done during the week. So you can try doing that implementation, you can try implementing something else, you can try doing more than what she has shared, or just feel free to do as much as you can. No matter how little, just do something and push. No matter how little, if it's just me writing a H1 and then a P tag and with your name, or doing a table or anything, just do something and then push to GitHub, because the more you do, the better you become. So some of those commands, you see them, Juliet, Pels typing them without looking elsewhere. It's because they have worked on it over time. It's over time, it just becomes a part of you. It's as simple as if they give you an exam to write number 1 to 20 now. You don't need to look for a book to see how 1 or 2 or 3 is written. You already know all those stuff. You play with them on a daily. So that's just how coding is. You play with it on a daily, no matter how little. Dedicate time, 1 hour per day, 2 hours per day, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, makes sense. Right, so that'll be it for today. So do have a wonderful week ahead, and look forward to seeing you guys in the next session. So cheers. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Pels. Thank you, Juliet. Bye.
So sorry, you said we can create anything and send on the repo, right?
You said what?
You said we can just make anything and send on the repo on GitHub, right?
Yes. Basically, the purpose is for you to be able to create a repo. Is for you to be able to push to a repo, right? So at least be able to push to a repo, be able to make changes, commit, and then push back to that repo and have those changes online.
So sorry, what about the Figma?
The Figma already, I said she sent invites to those that dropped their
Yes,
emails.
I got invite. I
The-
have it.
Yes, all what you need to do is accept it. So we will advise that you should try to implement what is on the Figma board. But should in case you cannot, do what you
Don't
can
that.
do. Do what you can do and push. Right? You can
Okay.
even do you can even do more than what is on the Figma board. So we are basically trying to say you should not be limited to what we sent you. Explore as much as you can. And then if you feel you're still not getting it, feel free to drop as little as you can. Nothing is little, right? So if it means just writing a H1 with your name and pushing to GitHub and sharing a link for me to see that, oh, this is what you have achieved, that's cool. Makes sense. You can still also drop some posts about your progress. People tend to watch, okay, yeah, this was where you started, and then try to follow your progress, and okay, yeah, this person is here at the time, right? You can't just be quiet and wake up one morning and say, oh, I'm a software developer. It may really not so sit well with other people, right? Yeah, but yeah, that's your. So let's try to work as much as we can this week. Remember, this is the week 4. We have
Yes,
two.
and please, and as this other guy suggested, if we can have the recordings earlier in the program.
Yeah, we'll work on that too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, do have a wonderful evening. Bye for now.